Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here, got another Pokemon Pocket video for you. Coming up with a follow-up with our Pikachu deck here. Our second follow-up, actually. So I said in the Mewtwo video that was the first follow-up, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I actually did a Pikachu video back when I only owned one Zapdos. So we have updated the build since then. As you can see, we are on the new Mythical Island Pikachu, the non-EX version that does also have Circle Circuit. Same attack, just a little baby version, only 10 times each bench instead of 30 times, which is definitely a lot more significant, or a lot less significant, rather. But we're playing that alongside Raichu for a Lieutenant Surge build here. Also from Mythical Islands, we have Dedenne as well. So, yeah, I wanted to not only try out some of these new electric Pokemon, but also, of course, the Lieutenant Surge build. And I gotta say, I'm probably just gonna switch back to the regular build. So, here's the thing about Raichu and Lieutenant Surge and why I'm really not the biggest fan of these cards. I don't think they're bad. I think that, I mean, we've seen builds like this top tournaments often enough that, you know, it is a good deck. Pikachu EX overall is, and this is definitely not a bad variant, but I think that this variant... Here's the thing. Pikachu EX really shines because it is an aggressive deck, right? And the Raichu Lieutenant Surge combo is just that. It's like a big energy buildup for like a huge attack combo, which sometimes you do want. Sometimes you actually do want the ability to reliably do like over 100 damage in one attack. Circle Circuit is really nice because it's really cheap, but also it can only really get up to 90 damage. Zapdos does have the Hurricane attack, but that one is still pretty coin flipping, as a result RNG reliant. But also, I think that it's more important to lean into the aggressive strategy when it comes to playing Pikachu. I think that's what makes Pikachu such a good deck, if I'm being honest, is that a lot of the decks in this game... Actually, I will be fair, since Mythical Island, it feels like a little bit more of an even split, but pre-Mythical Island especially, Pikachu was an aggressive deck in a sea of energy build-up decks. Now we have Celebi, which I consider to be a decently aggressive deck. I mean, it doesn't still have Superior as a big combo, but you can also just play Executor EX and Celebi and just kind of play an aggro strategy. There's also the Marshadow aggro decks and all its variants, like Aerodactyl, so on and so forth. But yeah, I guess what I'm getting at here is like putting a big energy combo into an aggressive deck. It does have its uses occasionally, but pretty much always going to favor just dealing 90 early on with a Circle Circuit, right? That's pretty much always going to be the better play here. So, and we're in a mirror match. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but staring down a couple of Zapdoses here. Our opponent is going to get the Thundering Hurricane off, so we just need two of these to be tails and we're good. Oh, it's pretty decently in our favor to survive this Thundering Hurricane here. And I see 1, 2 tails, and actually a total of 4. So we dodge damage completely and don't take anything at all. Which is going to end up... Wait for it. Yeah, causing our opponent to concede. So I don't blame them. I think I would too. Alright. Yeah, that's often... So mirror matches can kind of depend on who opens Zapdos and who opens Pikachu sometimes, but... if both people open Pikachu, a lot of the time it depends on who can get the bigger bench or who can get energy first. Speaking of Celebi, we're going to go into our next game here. Excuse me. Yeah, so Pikachu EX, I think, remains one of the best decks in the format. I think Gyarados actually technically has more tournament tops right now, but it's not by a lot. And, you know, Pikachu just really has that, again, that... being aggro is so important in this game, I think. It's so good. I mean, of course, that's not to say that the big energy build-up combo decks are bad. But when that's kind of the norm... See, that's kind of how metas work, right, in a given card game, right? There's like the norm and then what beats the norm. And it's often what beats the norm that actually ends up being, you know, among the best decks of a given format. Alright, so our opponent just led with a Snivy here. Followed up with a Dhelmise. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Dhelmise. I think that it's just better to go into Executor EX if you want something that can deal a lot of, you know, damage off of one energy. Well, that's the thing. The Dhelmise needs more than one energy, but Executor can deal 40, sometimes 80 off of one energy, whereas Dhelmise is like 20 off of one energy, but then even with Superior out, it still takes 2 to deal 90, which, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad rate, but it's just like you could do better, like overall better, right? Like the Executor EX, like, you get what I mean. You get what I mean. It just doesn't take as much commitment. Alright. So, this is one of those potions, I actually talked about this in a recent video, but when it comes to using potions, I think it really pays to be smart about it. Like, I don't really understand why you would potion the Snivy here. It's not really in danger from dying if you're going to put it on the bench anyway, and to that point, you want to save your potion. Again, I see a lot of people who will just throw out a potion in order to get something up to max HP, or, just to follow up after they take their first bit of damage. But the use of a potion, because it heals so little, is not to just get up to full to be safe. It's to offset being one-shot or being two-shot. Or the idea is that, like, if you're at like 90 HP and your opponent has an attack that deals, well, 90, you can use a potion. Even if it doesn't fully heal you up, you'll still survive with 20. So then you have to get 2-shot instead of 1-shot, which gives you a chance to attack. That's how to use a potion to get an attack in a situation where you otherwise might not be able to. But yeah, this wasn't it. I mean, I don't know. I talk about this. It feels to me like that's obvious, and I don't have to mention it, but at the same time, I don't know, my experiences differ from yours. Maybe, I don't know, it's something that I think about a lot in making, not just these Pokemon videos, but also in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel videos on my main channel. There are a lot of times where I'm like, should I really, like, say this in a video? Like, I feel like everybody knows that, but, it's easy for that to not be the case. It's easy to overlook that not everybody knows everything that you do. If that makes any sense. If I'm ever making any sense. So, alright, so this Dhelmise looks like it's going to build up its energy the old-fashioned way, which is totally fine with me. It doesn't really seem like our opponent really has that much else to do right now anyway. They don't really have access to Celebi yet, or even really a Servine at this point. So, to be fair, we haven't had the ability to fill up our bench. This is kind of, although to be fair, I don't really play any more Pokemon in my new build. I was going to say, one thing I don't like about the Lieutenant Surge build is that, we don't have as many basics, but I think in my last builds I was playing the same amount of basics anyway. I think you usually play 9 Pokemon with 7 basics pretty much all the time in Pikachu. Like, if you're not playing Pikachu and Raichu, aren't you just playing, like, Blitzel and Zebstrika? Or Strika, whatever it is, or Voltorb and Electrode, or Joltik and Galvantula. I guess the question is, what do you take out Lieutenant Surges for? You probably just take him out for potions, though, right? Because that's the thing, there's a lot of good Stage 1 evolution lines when it comes to electric types, but there's not a lot of good I mean, okay, Pikachu and Zapdos are, like, phenomenally great Pokemon. I don't want to say there's not a lot of good standout basics, but aside from those two, there really isn't a ton. Aside from maybe like Dedenne and Electabuzz and not really Pinkirkin anymore since Dedenne's out. But anyway, yeah, our opponent wasn't really able to get their strategy off the ground there. Yeah, we were able to threaten to one-shot the Servine. I think we were able to threaten to one-shot it. Well, anyway, that's going to definitely be a good game there. As we're going into our last game against Machamp. Let's head into this one here. So, Machamp EX, another deck I've kind of been wanting to try. Although, to be fair, when it comes to playing fighting types, I feel like, I mean, you can play Marshadow in the Machamp EX deck, but I feel like playing playing the Machamp line is like, I don't know. Machamp is such like a 50-50 EX for me. It's so on the fence of like, do I think this is good? I'm like, kinda. It's like, okay. It's a fine enough Pokemon, I suppose, but anyway. Yeah, leading off with a Pikachu here. Thankfully finding a Pikachu EX off the Pokeball. I mean, again, like I said, it's like, I feel more inclined to set up the EX or even the Zapdos. I mean, I guess that's the whole point of Lieutenant Surge and Raichu, is that you don't have to set up on the Raichu. You can just Lieutenant Surge, but you still have to set up not in terms of energy, but in terms of like an actual card combo. It's not even just as simple as having Raichu and Lieutenant Surge and 3 energy. You often need to have an X speed. If not an X speed, you do need a 4th energy to be able to retreat whatever's in play out to get Raichu in, right? Like, yeah, that's really, I think, what it is. It's less of an energy setup and more of an actual card combo. Which is like, you know, again, I don't think it's bad, but I just think that it's not necessarily what this deck wants to be doing. Looks like they're on Mankey Primeape as well. Is that I think that's the Genetic Apex Mankey. Mankey is one of the few Pokemon that actually has like 3 different versions. That's not an EX. Because it's got the Genetic Apex, the Mythical Island version, and then also the promo one. I just think it's kind of funny they're playing the Genetic Apex Mankey, because I kind of think that's the worst one. Well, it's like but yeah, no, I think it is the worst one. As far as the other two, I think it's debatable which one is better, just depending on what you're looking for. Alright, yeah, this Machoke was able to get a KO here, but I kind of planned for that anyway. Like, I wasn't really planning on that Pikachu sticking around. It doesn't even really matter that it got KO'd anyway, because, well, we just have another one here. So, thankfully we have the Giovanni, which means I can one-shot this Machoke and not have to deal with it for much longer. Well, not any longer, really, so. I guess the thing about Raichu is that it can help you. It is a little bit of a comeback card. Like, I guess if you fall behind, then... The thing is, though, if you fall behind, it's usually because your stuff is getting KO'd, and then you don't usually have the energy to set up the Lieutenant Surge Raichu anyway. It's like, I don't know. It almost feels like the opposite of a win more card, but at the same time, you know... A lose more card? I guess being a lose more card isn't a horrible thing to be. You want cards that are good in bad situations, but you don't want cards that are only good in bad situations, right? I mean, that's why win more cards aren't good. They're only good when you're winning. They only make you win more than you already are. But, so I guess lose more isn't the right term because you aren't losing anymore, but, I don't know. It's an interesting little conundrum. Well, anyway, we're able to finish this game out with only 2 points because that was our opponent's last Pokemon, that Primeape there. So maybe they were like me and missed out on the promo Mankey. It's a shame. But anyway, that'll do it for this video. Thank you for checking this one out. Feel free to sub if you want to see more Pokemon Pocket content. We definitely got more on the way, but that's going to do it for this one. Yeah, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But of course, I'm also hoping that you have a fantastic day.